लक्ष्म्या सह ऋषिकेशः देव्या कारुण्यरूपया रक्षकः सर्वसिद्धान्ते वेदान्तेऽपि च गीयते. We are all assembled here to relish Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. As we begin our Deepavali festivities, it is customary to begin the festivities with Lakshmi Puja, Dhanteras, Dhana Trayodashi. Lakshmi Puja is quite popular. Lakshmi is invoked to attract wealth, and therefore Lakshmi Puja has to be popular. When we pray and worship Mahalakshmi, we attract prosperity. This is true, but this is only our partial understanding. Therefore, before we relish the glories of her Kataksha, let us first relish the glories of Lakshmi. Lakshyatiti Lakshmi. Who is Mahalakshmi? Lakshyatiti Lakshmi. The one who constantly contemplates, constantly meditates on the well-being of all living beings. She is Lakshmi. Lakshmi chasmi harer nityam. Lakshmi chasmi harer nityam. We all know she gives us wealth, but she herself is wealth. She is Hari's wealth. She is Hari's inseparable property. In fact, the Shastras say she is the unique identifier of the Parabrahman. The Shastras therefore celebrate the Parabrahman, the Paramatma, as Shriyapati. Narayana is celebrated as Shriyapati. The Lakara in Lakshmi stands for Laya. Kshi Nivase, based on this dhatu, the Kshakara in Lakshmi stands for Stithi. Mang Mane, based on this dhatu, the Makara in Lakshmi stands for Srishti. Therefore, Lakshmi embodies the Ichha Shakti, the will of Narayana that impels Prakriti into Srishti, Sthiti and Laya. The legendary Yamunacharya gives us the very essence of Lakshmi Tattva. Kantaste Purushottamaha Panipatihi Shayyasanam Vahanam Vedatma Vihekeshwaraha Yavanika Maya Jaganmohini Brahmeshadi Surabrajaha Sadayitaha Vaddasa Dasi Ganaha Shririteva Chanamate Bhagavati Bhuma Katam Tvam Vayam, he says. Kantaste Purushottamaha. Explaining the very essence of Lakshmi Tattva, he says, Purushottama is her Kanta. Who is that Purushottama? Krishna in the Gita says, Uttama Purushaspanyaha Paramatme Tudahrataha Yo Lokatrayama Vishya Vibharti Avyaya Ishvaraha. That Ishvara, that Purushottama, that Parabrahman, Paramatma, Narayana, is her Kanta, he says. What a wonderful word. He does not use the bland title Bharta. He says Kanta. Bharta is very bland. Kanta. Why Narayana is Kanta? Because Narayana is incredibly consumed. He is consumed with supreme love for Sri Mahalakshmi. Kantaste Purushottamaha. The Nitya Suris like Adisesha, Garuda, all serve her. And they consider serving her as the ultimate Purushartha. All the Devatas, right from Brahma, consider serving Shri along with Narayana as their dharma. Shrirityevacha namate Bhagavati Katham Bhumo Katham na Tvam Vayam. How can we ever glorify you? It is like our attempt to glorify Mahalakshmi is like that of a mosquito attempting to dry up an entire ocean by drinking the water. How can we ever glorify you? Shrirityevacha namate. She is celebrated as Shri. The Vedas celebrate Mahalakshmi as Shri. Shrihi. What a divine nama. Shrinati Nikilan Doshan Shrinati cha Gunair Jagat. Shriyate cha Akilair Nityam Shrayate cha Parampadam. The nama Shri gives 6 important qualities. The nama Shri celebrates 6 qualities of Mahalakshmi. Shrinati. Shri is Shrinati, the dispeller of the darkness of Papa Karma, the ultimate purifier. Shrinati Nikilan Doshan. Shrinati cha Gunair Jagat. Shri is Shrinati. She is Shri because she is the one who promotes goodness. Shriyate cha Akilair Nityam. Everyone resorts to her, takes her shelter. Why? Because Shrayate, she takes Narayana's shelter. She is the mediatrix, the mediator between every Jivatma and the Paramatma. Just like how a mother mediates between the child and the father, the Lokamata is the ultimate mediator, represents every Jivatma. Shrunoti. Shri is Shrunoti. She patiently listens to all our pleadings. Very patient. Everything that we need to communicate with her, she accepts. And Shrunoti Shravayati. Shri is Shravayati because she then represents every Jivatma. And then she makes Narayana listen to her. Such is the glory of Mahalakshmi. In fact, when we all seek good life, when we all seek God's life, what is the difference between good life and God's life? Good life is a life of material success. God's life is leading life based on God, what God wants us to. It is a life of fulfilling the ultimate purpose of living. When we seek good life or God life, knowingly or unknowingly, we are only seeking Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. What is Kaṭākṣa? Kaṭākṣa is a beautiful word. Very difficult to translate it in English. Aksha means eyes. Katau. Katau stands for something which is divine, something which is glorious, something which is special. Kaṭākṣa. Kaṭākṣa therefore can mean seeing with divine eyes, seeing with special eyes. Kaṭākṣa is not only seeing with special eyes, Kaṭākṣa also means seeing in a special way. It is not just seeing with special eyes, it is also seeing with in a special way. So when we see, it cannot be Kaṭākṣa, because neither we have special eyes, divine eyes, nor do we see in a special way. What is seeing in a special way? How do we understand seeing in a special way? Seeing in a special way is divine glances, benevolent glances of eyes filled with boundless compassion. Kaṭākṣa is benign glances that flow perennially as bountiful grace that protects us, that uplifts us, that energizes us, that empowers us, that sustains us. Kaṭākṣa is divine benevolence that ensures alignment of all forces and resources required for our very existence. Kaṭākṣa is divine benevolence required for alignment of all forces and resources required for our very existence, necessary for our very living. Kaṭākṣa is the unseen power, the unseen hand that sustains us in the present, protects us, and prepares us for eternity. Kaṭākṣa is that grace that keeps perennially flowing. The word grace is much, much more than a shower of material rewards. It is Shri and Shriyapati's grace, their Kaṭākṣa, which keeps us going all the time. Their Kaṭākṣa works 24/7. Whether we acknowledge it or not, it is their Kaṭākṣa which keeps us going. Now, when I drive on the road and I see the green signal, and then I move on, assuming the other person has seen the red signal. That assumption is rooted in grace, rooted in Kaṭākṣa. I breathe out, hoping that there will be air to breathe in. If somebody says there is not going to be air, I will hesitate to breathe out. That hope is rooted in Kaṭākṣa. This blessed heart keeps working all the time. There is no respite whatsoever. Lub, dub, lub, dub, lub, dub. Between every lub and dub, there is Kaṭākṣa. Shri and Shriyapati's eyes are wide open. They are seeing us, quote unquote, seeing us all the time. Their eyes are wide open so that their Kaṭākṣa can keep flowing, flooding, and so that we can be drenched with abundant blessings. Every event that unfolds is a blessing. Shri and Shriyapati, their glances are very special. Their eyes are very special. No wonder our Shastras take great pains to describe what is not easily describable, the supreme beauty of their eyes. What is so very special about Bhagavan's eyes? The Shastras celebrate Bhagavan's eyes, which are electrifying, which are enlivening, empowering. In fact, his eyes are the identification, are used as an identification. Tasya yatha kapyasam pundarīkameva makshini, the Shastra says. He is Pundarīkaksha. That Paramatma, Parabrahman, who is he? He is that Pundarīkaksha, Shastras say. Lotus-like eyes. No wonder his eyes are star attraction. Broad, bewitching, benign, benevolent, extraordinarily long, magnetic, mesmerizing. Lakshmi savibhramaloka subhru vibhrama chakshuse. Chakshuse sarvalokanam venkateshaya mangalam. We keep listening to this as part of Suprabhata Mangala. Lakshmi savibhramaloka subhru vibhrama chakshuse. Chakshuse sarvalokanam venkateshaya mangalam. Mangalam to Venkatesha. Mangalam to Venkatesha. Seems Padmavati Devi looks at that exquisitely beautiful face of Venkatesha. That exquisite beauty, electrifying eyes, elegant eyebrows over those electrifying eyes, endearing forehead, and she gets enchanted. Who will not? She gets overwhelmed looking at those electrifying eyes, and it seems she gets so overwhelmed that she cannot stand and she sits down. That's the reason why Venkatesha is always in standing posture and Padmavati Devi is in sitting posture. Ever since the Divya Dampati set this standard, it has become a practice. The lady of the house majestically sits giving commands, and the man of the house has to dutifully stand. Bhagavan's eyes are captivating. What about Shri? If Bhagavan's eyes are captivating, the Shastras say, he is spellbound. He is mesmerized. He is allured looking at those divine eyes of Shri. Shri and Shreyapati are made for each other. Bhagavan Narayana Vimata Anurupa Swarupa Rupa Guna Vibhava Ishwarya Sheeladhyanavadikadisaya Asankyeya Kalyana Gunaganam. Bhagavati Sri Mahalakshmi is endowed with all the divine Kalyana Gunas, and her eyes are magnetic and mesmerizing. They are the source of all auspiciousness. Vishwa Sanjeevanam, the Shastras say. The grace that streams down from those divine eyes are the cure for all the ills in this world. Ullasa pallavitapalita saptaloki nirvaha korakitaneva katakshalila Sriranga harmyatala mangala deeparekam Srirangaraja mahishim shriyamashayamaha. The illustrious Parashara Bhattar glorifies Shri and especially her divine glances. He talks about the power of Shri's glances. He says, Ullasa pallavita palita saptaloki nirvaha korakitaneva katakshalila Sriranga harmyatala mangala deeparekam Srirangaraja mahishim shriyamashayamaha. I take shelter, I surrender to you, Mahalakshmi. Those exquisitely looking eyes, and whenever those eyes move subtly, the glances that come from those eyes, which open up and shut partially, should not be mistaken as just normal twinkling of your eyes, he says. The twinkle of your eyes are not casual. He says they are major acts that impel Bhagavan to do Srishti, Sthiti and Laya. He says your glances are the decisive factors in impelling Bhagavan to engage in Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. Ishatvat karuna nirikshana sudha sandukshanat rakshate nashtam prak tadalapataha. The great Yamunacharya says, Ishatvat karuna nirikshana sudha sandukshanat rakshate nashtam prak tadalapataha. He says, tadalapataha sampratyanantodayam. Whenever your glances do not fall on the three lokas, Tribhuvana, they are subject to decay. They are subject to all kinds of inauspiciousness. The moment your glances fall on all the three lokas and all the living beings, they are all instantaneously uplifted. There is auspiciousness everywhere. Everyone is nourished. Everyone flourishes. He says, such is the power of your glances. Such is the power of Shri's glances. The Parashara Bhattar says, it seems when Shri just looks casually, immediately there ensues a competition, he says. Ratirmati Saraswati Dhriti Samriddhi Siddhishriyaha Sudha Saki Yathomukam Chichalishet Tavabrulata Tathomukam Atendire. Tathomukam Atendire. He says, the moment her glances fall in one particular direction, Ratirmatir Saraswati Dhriti Samriddhi Siddhishriyaha, there ensues a competition between 7 contenders who compete with each other in order to arrive first. Who are these 7 competitors? Ratihi, Matihi, Saraswati, Dhriti, Samriddhi, Siddhi, Shriyaha. Ratirmati Saraswati, he says, Ratirmati Saraswati, Dhriti, Samriddhi, Siddhi, Shriyaha. Just with a very simple glance of yours, when it falls on the fortunate one, all these 7 bounties, they start competing. Hey, Sudhasaki, such is the power. Ratihi, Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam grants Rati, Preeti. Preeti, the greatest blessing that we can have is the blessing of bhakti. Longing to belong. Longing to belong. Rati, longing to belong to the one who owns everything. The Vibhu, the Paramatma. When we start to realize that we belong only to Him, we do not need any other belongings to fulfill our longing for love. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam is a prerequisite to gain this important bounty, the bounty of bhakti. Ratihi, Matihi. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam is necessary for Mati. Mati is intelligence. Not just ordinary intelligence. True intelligence. What is true intelligence? How can we define true intelligence? True intelligence is to know what to do when we do not know what to do. I'm not confusing you here. True intelligence is to know what to do when we do not know what to do. Whether we like it or not, life is subject to the law of impermanence, the law of unpredictability. It's fragile by design. And therefore, many a times, our intelligence can fail, can fall short to face the challenges of life, the impermanence, the unpredictability. True intelligence, even when there is a failure, not knowing how to face the challenge, is to know to seek guidance. To seek guidance from an acharya, and through the acharya, the shastras. Shri herself is an acharya. And therefore, Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam is required for one to get a sadacharya, and also through the sadacharya get exposed to the shastras. Ratihi, Matihi, Saraswati. Saraswati is effective speech. Effective speech is so very important in our life. What is effective speech? That which is sensible and sensitive. Speech has to be sensible. It has to be useful to others. It has to be based on truth. It has to be at the same time sensitive. It has to be pleasing. It should not be aggravating. So therefore, effective speech is a good combination, a wholesome combination of sensibility and sensitivity. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa grants us that Saraswati. Ratihi, Matihi, Saraswati, Dhritihi. A very important ingredient needed in our life and living. Dhriti is the courage. Courage to face the adversities of life. It's very important to realize that the size of a problem, the size of any problem is inversely proportional to the size of the purpose. The size of any problem in life is inversely proportional to the size of the purpose. Larger the purpose that drives us, smaller is the size of every problem that we face. Mahalakshmi, her Kaṭākṣa, grants us, makes us realize the ultimate purpose of life. What is the ultimate purpose of life? Treasure hunt. But what kind of treasure? The ultimate treasure. Ultimate treasure, Shriyapati. When one has that purpose, which is so very expansive, there is no problem that cannot be faced. So therefore, the courage to face every adversity in life, that courage is a result of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa. Rati, Mati, Saraswati, Dhriti, Samriddhi. Samriddhi. Samriddhi is abundance, perfection, progress. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa bestows Samriddhi, abundance of wealth, no doubt. But Lakshmi gives us wealth only for one reason. She gives us wealth, the material wealth, so that we may seek higher wealth. Wealth is important, necessary, but not sufficient for fulfilling life's purpose. So therefore, the real wealth that we get from Lakshmi Devi, her Kaṭākṣa bestows the real wealth, the wealth of servitude, Kainkarya. Kainkarya to Shri and Shriyapati. Samriddhi. Siddhi Shriyaha. Siddhihi. Siddhi is success. The world defines success in terms of positions and possessions. This is how we normally define success. We define success in terms of possessions and positions. But our experience in life teaches us that such successes only become successful failures. Then what is the point of success? What is the point of success? The point of success is to point to the source of success. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa ensures that we get the pointer to the source of success. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa leads us from success to the source of success, Lakshmipati. Shriyaha, the seventh bounty, the result of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa. Seventh bounty, Shriyaha, virtues, excellences. what are the assets that we need to cultivate, to develop? The Shastras very clearly say the assets that are to be obtained, maintained, cultivated are the virtues. In order to embark on the path of self-improvement, many times we wonder that the right way to improve ourselves is to start addressing our wants, our desires. But the Shastras say that instead of struggling to address our wants, one should address our virtues, reinforce our virtues. And when the virtues are reinforced, in the internal war that happens all the time between our own vices and our own virtues, if we keep reinforcing our virtues in the internal war, eventually the virtues will win. And when we win the internal war, the external war is also won. And therefore, Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa gives us abundance of virtues. Tatirmati Saraswati Dhriti Samruddhi Siddhishriyaha Sudhasaki Parasha Bhatta says Sudhasaki Yatho Mukham Chichalishet Tavabrulata. He says Chichalishet Tavabrulata. Just with a small movement of your eyebrows, when your glances just temporarily fall on a fortunate one, all these 7 bounties immediately rush. It's like a torrential flow. It's like a flow that goes and floods, just like how floods break the banks of the river. These 7 bounties flood the fortunate one. Such is the glory of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. We all know, we all celebrate the avatars of Bhagavan. And we all know there are many reasons for avatars. We know that Bhagavan continuously, repeatedly keeps descending for our sake, for Dharma Samstapana. While we know that the purpose of avatars is Dharma Samstapana, we also must know that one of the important purposes of Bhagavan's avatars is to highlight the significance of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. Many times when we celebrate Bhagavan's avatars, we somehow ignore to recognize the role played by Sri Mahalakshmi and her Kaṭākṣa. Just like how sitting in this room, we ignore the importance of air that is there in this room. We will realize it only when we start choking. Until then, we take it for granted. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa is similarly taken for granted. But we must celebrate the avatars, realizing and relishing Lakshmi Sambandha. Shastras say, Avatara Phala Siddhi is possible only because of Shri Sambandha. Avatara Phala Siddhi, the fulfillment of every avatara of Bhagavan is due to Shri Sambandham, the Shastras say. Avatara of Bhagavan, his descent for Dharma Samstapana is like a yajna. Sadhu Paritranam, protection of the sadhus, of the good, is a yajna. And Bhagavan is a grihastha. And for the successful performance of any yajna, the grihastha needs the support of Sahadharmacharini. Without the Sahadharmacharini, the yajna cannot be performed, and the fulfillment of yajna is only possible with the support of Sahadharmacharini. And therefore, Sri Mahalakshmi plays a very important role. In some avatars, her role is a silent spectator, but very powerful role. In some avatars, we see her playing prominent roles. So therefore, while we relish Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa, it is only appropriate that we celebrate some of the avatars and relish the role of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam in each of these avatars. Venkatadwari Kavi, a very popular, illustrious poet, almost 400 years back, he composed a work called Lakṣmī Sahasra, where he celebrates the role of Shri in the various avatars of Shriyapati. When we look at avatars, there are many ways to relish each of his avatars. But today, we will relish the avatars in the context of Lakshmi Sambandha, trying to see how Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam plays a very important role in each of these avatars. The highly celebrated, popular Kshirabdhi Mathana. Our Shastras celebrate Kshirabdhi Mathana in several ways. In several ways, we see how Bhagavan takes the avatara as Kurma to support Mount Mandara, so that the Kshirabdhi can be churned in order to extract Amrita. The legend of Indra losing all prosperity, Devas losing all prosperity because of Durvasa's curse, is very well known. And Narayana therefore orchestrates Kshirabdhi Mathana so that Amrita can be extracted. Amrita that can bring back the prosperity to Indra and the Devas. Devo Devi Tvayasau Danavanam Hanta Hanta Amandaragam Dadeyaha Dharmam Kaurmam Dharayan Tvatsahaya Matasahayam Mandaragam Dadeya. A very beautifully composed shloka on the role of Sri Mahalakshmi in Lakshmi Sahasra. Devo Devi, He Shri and Shriyapati, Devo Devi, Tvayasau Danavanam Amandaragam Dadeyaha. Hanta Hanta, Hanta Hanta Amandaragam Dadeyaha. We need to see the beautiful use of word plays here. Bhagavan took the avatara of Kurma. Why did he take the avatara of Kurma? Devo Devi Tvayasau Danavanam Hanta Hanta Amandaragam Dadeyaha. Amandaragam, Mandaragam. A very beautiful use of wordplay here. Mandaragam. Ragam means love. Mandaragam. Mandaragam means lesser love, lesser desire. Amandaragam, great love. It is because of the great love that Bhagavan has for you that he took the avatara of Kurma. Mandaragam. Mandara Agam means Mount Mandara. See the beautiful wordplay here. Mandaragam, Amandaragam, Mandara Agam. Mandaragam means lesser desire. Amandaragam, great desire. Mandara Agam means Mount Mandara. It is because of the great desire, the great love that Bhagavan has for you that he decided to take the form of Kurma to support Mount Mandara so that the Kshirabdhi could be churned. And the Kshirabdhi were to be churned to extract Amrita. This is what all the Devas and the Asuras were thinking. They were all thinking that Narayana was working extra, going overboard, doing everything on their behalf. He is running around all the place. He was there as Kurma, he was there as Ajita, he was there as Mohini. As Antaryami, he was energizing the Devatas and the Asuras. He was doing everything possible. Everybody thought he was working hard for them. But in fact, he was only working hard for his own sake because he wanted to regain the Amrita of all Amritas, Sri Mahalakshmi. In the process, therefore, when Amrita was extracted and given, Indra and the Devatas regained the lost glory. And then Indra finally realized that it was not Amrita that was the cause for they regaining the glory. It is the Amrita of all Amritas, Shri Mahalakshmi. Padmamalyam Padmakaram Padmanabha Priyamaham. Devi, Indra then realizes, he looks at Mahalakshmi and then presents a brilliant Shri Stuti. He says, Hey Lakshmi, Shariram Arogyam Aishwaryam Aripaksha Kshayas Sukham. Shariram Arogyam Aishwaryam Aripaksha Kshayas Sukham. Devi Padrishtadishtanam Purushananna Durlabham. Strength, health, wealth, happiness, success, all kinds of prosperity are not attainable without your Kataksha, He Devi. Indra finally realized that after all that has happened, it was Sri Mahalakshmi's Kataksha that was responsible for him and all the Devas regaining the lost glory, regaining the lost vigor, regaining the lost kingdom. In fact, the whole purpose of Ksheerabdhi Matana, if you look at, is not Kurmavatara. It is Sri Lakshmi's Avirbhava, the rise of Sri Mahalakshmi. Bhagavan orchestrated every activity to highlight the significance of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. Therefore, Kurmavatara is an avatara where we see how Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa to Indra, after all this, going through all these activities, finally realizes, possibly I should have just surrendered to Sri Mahalakshmi. Why did I go through all of this? It's like somebody climbing 10,000 steps, huffing and puffing, reaching on the top, and then realizing there was an elevator waiting all the time. When Sri Mahalakshmi was waiting all the time, the best thing that Indra could have done is just surrender to her. All the prosperity that he lost, he would have regained instantaneously. Without realizing that, Indra went through all this hardship, eventually to realize it is Shri's Kataksha that blessed him with all the prosperity. If Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa is the cause for Indra's regaining of all the prosperity, it is Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa which is also responsible for Brahma regaining all the Vedas. Devi Tvaya Labdha Dayarasena Devena Matsyam Vapurashitena. Lakshmi Sahasram, it is beautifully explained. Devi Tvaya Labdha Dayarasena. It is because of your Daya, He Devi. Devi Tvaya Labdha Dayarasena Devena Matsyam Vapurashitena. Devena Matsyam Vapurashitena. Ashtashruti rapi anashtashrutitvam apadyata padmajanma. Devi, we all think Bhagavan took the form of Matsya to go and protect Satyavrata and save the Vedas. But it is your Daya which has resulted, which has impelled him. And why did Bhagavan take the form of Matsya? It seems Bhagavan looked at Devi's exquisitely fish-like eyes and immediately decided the right form to take. Those divine, beautiful eyes of Lakshmi translated into a Matsya form that Bhagavan assumed in order to rescue. Ashtashruti rapi anashtashrutitvam apadyata padmajanma. Again, a beautiful wordplay here in Lakshmi Sahasram. It is because of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa that Ashtashruti became Nashtashruti and eventually became Anashtashruti, he says. What is Ashtashruti? What is Nashtashruti? What is Anashtashruti? Beautiful wordplay here being used. Ashtashruti. Shruti, ears. Ashtashruti, the one with 8 ears. Brahma with 4 heads and 8 ears. So Ashtashruti is Chaturmukha Brahma. Nashtashruti, Brahma lost the Vedas. Shruti is also Vedas. Ashtashruti, Chaturmukha Brahma became Nashtashruti. And because of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa became Anashtashruti. Anashtashruti. Nashtashruti, one who lost the Vedas. Anashtashruti, one who regained the Vedas. Hey Devi, it is because of your Kataksha that Bhagavan took the form of Matsya, restored the Vedas and gave the Vedas back to Brahma. And therefore it is your Kataksha which resulted in Ashtashruti, who became Nashtashruti, eventually transformed into Anashtashruti. Such is the glory of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa in Matsyavatara. There is one avatara whose cause is Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa. The cause of the avatara itself is Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa. What could that avatara be? Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa, as we have seen, is the cause for bhakti. And if bhakti is the cause of an avatara, we can all immediately relate to that avatara. An avatara which happened only for the sake of a bhakta. Bhakta Prahalada. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa, Prahalada was blessed with bountiful Kaṭākṣa, Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa. It is because of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa that he gained Parabhakti, Parajnana, Paramabhakti. And because of his bhakti, Bhagavan had to manifest as Nrisimha. Avanameva sada kalayan gajavyasana bhangakrita adbhuta kesari. Harinarakshana drishtihi ayam tvaya api abalaya amba gunena vashikritaha. The Lakshmi Sahasra beautifully describes Nrisimha Avatara glorifying the role of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa. Avanameva. Avanam eva sada kalayan gajavyasana bhangakrita adbhuta kesari. Adbhuta kesari. Nrisimha is not an ordinary kesari, not an ordinary lion. Adbhuta kesari. Wonder of wonders. Why is he Adbhuta kesari? Avanameva sada. Normally lions are expected to prowl only in the forests. But this Adbhuta kesari manifested not to prowl in the forest, but to manifest in the forest of samsara, in order to liberate all of us from the darkness of this jungle, this vana. Therefore, avanameva sada, this Adbhuta kesari manifested not in an ordinary forest, the forest of samsara. Normally, lions terrorize elephants. Elephants are in terror, in fear of lions. Avanameva sada kalayan dhajavyasana bhangakrita adbhuta kesari. But this Adbhuta kesari seems to be loved by elephants. Gajendra surrendered to you and you gave him moksha. So therefore, this Adbhuta kesari is in love with elephants. This is a kesari which does not terrorize, which protects elephants. What a wonder. Harinarakshana drishtihi. Harinarakshana drishtihi. Lions are used to devour deers. It looks like in this case, Harina, the beautiful deer, is fearlessly sitting on your lap. Vivritasya trinayanam saradindu samaprabham lakshmyalingita vamangam vibhuti rupashritam. Bhakta Prahalada glorifies Nrisimha, not as just Nrisimha, as Lakshmi in Nrisimha. Vivritasya trinayanam saradindu samaprabham. Everybody is terrorized. Prahalada is looking at Nrisimha and says, Sharadindu samaprabham, soothing beauty radiating from you in Nrisimha. Soothing beauty. He is fierce. At the same time, he is so very beautiful. He is electrifying and enchanting at the same time. Why? Lakshmyalingita vamangam. He is embracing Sri Mahalakshmi gently, and it's because of her presence, there is radiation of the soothing beauty. Now, while all Harina means golden like deer, they all run away from the lions, this Harina is fearlessly sitting on your lap. Who is this Harina? Hiranyavarnam Harinim Suvarna Rajatasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Chatavedo Ma'avaha. Sri Mahalakshmi is celebrated as Harini. What a wonderful nama that she has. Harini can mean golden like deer. But why would the Shastras describe her as a golden like deer? Her beauty is Much, much more. Yes, she is definitely beautiful. She is spellbinding, but Harina, Hari, Nayatiti, Harinihi. Hari, Nayatiti, Harinihi. She is the one who guides Hari, impels him to take actions. She is the one who impelled Narayana to take the action of protecting the supreme Bhakta. Prahalada was bestowed with supreme bhakti. And it is because of that bhakti, Narayana was compelled to act. And therefore, it is Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa which is the cause of this glorious avatara. Harina drishti, Harina rakshana drishti, Vayam aya api, Abalaya amba, Gunena vashi kritaha. Gunena vashi kritaha. I have never heard of a lion being tamed so very easily. How is it really possible? You have tamed this lion so very effortlessly. Bhagavan became Damodara during Narasimhavatara itself, not during Krishnavatara. During Krishnavatara, Yashoda used the rope to tie and therefore tie his belly, and therefore he became Damodara. During Narasimhavatara, Sri Mahalakshmi tied not with a rope, but with a Kalyana Gunas. Abalaya amba gunena vashikritaha. With your Kalyana Gunas, you are able to tie the fierce lion. Bhagavan, when he manifested, he forced himself, it seems, not to look at Sri Mahalakshmi. He was only looking at Hiranyakashipu. Only then that fierceness can come out. Because if he looks at Sri Mahalakshmi, the fierceness can never come out. Therefore, it seems when he manifested out of the pillar, his focus was on Hiranyakashipu. And that is the reason why initially he is so very fierce, but eventually he had to be tamed down. He had no choice other than looking at Sri Mahalakshmi, who is ever inseparable from him. Such is the glory of Nrisimhavatara. And we see the role of Lakshmi Sambandha. The cause of this avatara itself, we have seen, is Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. There is one avatara where Bhagavan, it seems, struggled. Bhagavan struggling. Narayana descends effortlessly. His avatars come naturally. Which avatara he struggled? He struggled during Vamana avatara. But we all know the Shastras glorify him. In fact, the Vedas sing the glories of how Vamana effortlessly transformed into Trivikrama and measured all the three lokas instantaneously. Where is the struggle? The struggle is that Bhagavan underwent is he being a grihastha, he had to act like a brahmachari. He had to struggle. And Lakshmi is always inseparable, always with him. So how can he prove that he is a brahmachari? Nobody will accept him. Lakshmi is there very much on his chest, seated. And therefore it seems he had to use a deer skin and cover it carefully. He had to struggle so that nobody notices Sri Mahalakshmi, and then everybody will know that this is not a brahmachari. Vakshastamapi varnitaanusritaye krishnajine navrunot devastvamiti varnayanti katichit dhrumo vayam tu indire. Lakshmi Sahasranam, it is said, hey Bhagavan, everybody thinks, or even including you, may think that the only reason that you used a deer skin to hide Sri Mahalakshmi on your chest is in order to prove that you are a brahmachari. But we all know the real reason. That is not the real reason. What is the real reason to hide Sri Mahalakshmi with a deer skin? The real reason is when you approach Bali Chakravarthy, if Sri Mahalakshmi is not hidden, then her Kaṭākṣa will not make you take the prosperity back from Bali Chakravarthy. When there is Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa, how can Bali Chakravarthy lose everything that he has gained? So therefore, you have to forcibly, for that very moment, you have to hide her. And therefore, you used a deer skin, hid her until you can get the dana, yachaka, fulfilled, and Bali then can eventually lose all the prosperity that he usurped from Indra. But there is also another reason. You also needed Sri Mahalakshmi to be with you. One may ask, you could have left her back in Vaikuntha, but you also needed her Kataksha. It is only because of her Kataksha you also can get dana. Otherwise, you will not get dana from Bali Chakravarthy. So you needed Shri's Kataksha to obtain the dana, but you also did not need her Kataksha to fall on Bali Chakravarthy. So you engineered in such a way that you enjoyed her Kataksha and you prevented her Kataksha falling on Bali Chakravarthy. What a glorious avatara, hey Bhagavan. What a struggle that you went through. So therefore, Vamana Avatara is such a glorious avatara where we see the significant role played by Sri Mahalakshmi. If there is one avatara which can be explained as an avatara primarily orchestrated for the purpose of highlighting Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam, it can only be one avatara, where Bhagavan probably played a supporting cast. In all his avataras, he is the hero. He plays the primary role. And Sri Mahalakshmi plays the supporting role. But in this avatara, she is the hero. She is the main cast. Bhagavan plays a supporting role. What is that avatara? Rama avatara. We may all be surprised. Rama avatara, Ramayana. Valmiki originally named Ramayana as Sitaya Charitam Mahate. Ramayana, yes, highlights the glories of Rama, but the central character of Ramayana is Mother Sita. It is during this avatara that we get to see the role of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam, the significance of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. It is during this avatara that we see how there are no limits whatsoever to Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. No restrictions, no prerequisites. Her Kataksha is made available to all without any restrictions whatsoever. Papanam va shubhanam va vadarhanam plavangama karyam karunyamaryena kaschin aparadhyati. How can we ever forget this profound declaration of Mother Sita? Hanuman, after the war, after Ravana was vanquished, Hanuman rushes to Ashokavana to convey the good news. He conveys the good news to Mother Sita and he immediately looks around all the Rakshasis. Hanuman earlier had witnessed the torture that Mother Sita underwent. Hanuman immediately looks at Mother Sita and says, Mother Sita, it is now time to take revenge. Give me permission. I will destroy all these Rakshasis. Mother Sita admonishes Hanuman. And for the first time, and maybe for the last time, Mother Sita looks at Hanuman and addresses her, hey monkey, hey plavangama. That is the only time Mother Sita possibly used somewhat harsh phrase for Hanuman. Papanam va shubhanam va vadarhanam plavangama, monkey. For a moment, Hanuman also lost balance. Sita says, you too lost balance. I expected more from you, hey Hanuman. Papanam va shubhanam va vadarhanam plavangama karyam karunyamaryena takaschin naparadhyati. Who is a noble person, she says. A noble person is one who does not distinguish between sinners and saints, the vicious and virtuous. Compassion is not for sale, she says. Compassion cannot be given based on a prerequisite. It's like sunlight. It is available for all. It is through compassion that transformation can happen, reformation can happen. Hey Hanuman, everyone commits wrong deeds. Knowingly or unknowingly, papa karmas are done by all. If papa karma becomes a criteria for qualification, then Hanuman, nobody qualifies to receive compassion. Apanam va shubhanam va adarhanam plavangama. Mother Sita demonstrates her boundless compassion, and ordinary mortals like us will be shocked when we come to know that her compassion is so boundless and limitless that she was ready to forgive even Ravana. Even Ravana, who committed atrocities, heinous acts, unpardonable offenses. Who would have the heart other than Mother Sita? Earlier, Ravana approaches Sita in the Ashoka Vatika. He approaches Sita to coerce her, to torment her, torture her, and force her to accept him. And when Ravana approaches Mother Sita and he makes an advance, immediately Valmiki says, Trinam antara kritva. She takes a blade of grass and she just throws it in front of Ravana, stopping him to advance. And she looks at Ravana and she says, Ananyam Raghavenaham Bhaskarena Prabhayata. Ananya Raghavenaham. Ravana, you must realize, just like how the rays of sun is inseparable from the sun, I am inseparable from Rama. Ananya Raghavenaham Bhaskarena Prabhayata. Vidita Sahi Dharmagyaha Sharanagata Vatsalaha. Tena Maitri Bhavatu Te Yadi Jivitumichasi. She advises Ravana. She throws a blade of grass. Many may wonder, why did Mother Sita throw a blade of grass in front of Ravana? There are many ways to understand. She passes many messages. A limit is set. A warning is given. By throwing a blade of grass, Mother Sita warns Ravana. When Rama comes and attacks you, you will be left with nothing other than this blade of grass. When Rama comes and attacks you and you fall down, your mouth will be full of only this grass. Hey Ravana, you are no different. You are worse than a grass-eating animal. Sita, by throwing the blade of grass, also wants to give a very strong message to Ravana. Hey Ravana, don't think I am all alone. I am inseparable from Rama. In the past, as Nrsimha, he emerged from a pillar. It doesn't take time for him to emerge from this very blade of grass. So be warned. She throws a blade of grass to show that even with her will, this blade of grass can become a mighty weapon. Sita throws this blade of grass to also tell Ravana that I consider my life just like a blade of grass, inconsequential, so you cannot threaten me to accept you. Finally, Sita wanted to give a very important message to Ravana that shows her boundless compassion, demonstrating that her Kaṭākṣa is open to even a sinner like Ravana. By throwing a blade of grass, the message to Ravana is, hey Ravana, take shelter of Rama. Take shelter of Rama. Vidita sahi dharmagyaha sharanagata vatsalaha. Rama is sharanagata vatsala. Tena maitri bhavatu te yadi jivitu vichhasi. Rama has taken a vrata. Whoever surrenders to him, he shall protect. Rama only protects those who surrender to him. Mother Sita protects those even who don't surrender to her. This is the glory of the mother. By throwing a piece of the blade of grass, the message to Ravana is, hey Ravana, surrender, take shelter. But do not take shelter just like how a blade of grass takes shelter of the ocean. Take shelter just like how a fish takes shelter of the ocean. There is a difference. The blade of grass keeps questioning its relationship with the ocean. It's constantly struggling. Accept, not accept. Accept, not accept. keeps questioning and it gets thrown out. Whereas a fish takes shelter of the ocean, connects with it, completely giving in, and the ocean protects it. Therefore, Mother Sita shows compassion that is unimaginable to us, which beyond what we can comprehend, ready to forgive a sinner like Ravana. Throughout Ramayana, we see how Mother Sita plays that role of the mediator between the Jivatma and the Paramatma. And throughout Ramayana, we see the significant role of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. What is the role of Lakshmi in Krishna Avatar? It seems Bhagavan, having played a supporting cast in Ramayana, wanted to once again come back to center stage. Somehow he found out that after Ramavatara, Mother Sita grabbed all the attention. And by getting imprisoned, Mother Sita demonstrated the principle of sacrifice. Therefore, Bhagavan decided, the next avatara, let me take birth in a jail. So he started the avatara being imprisoned. He wanted to emulate Sri Mahalakshmi. And he wanted to take the center stage back. Therefore, while we see Mahalakshmi playing a major role during Ramavatara, we may sometimes wonder, what is her role in Krishna Avatara? It is important to realize that Krishna Avatara can be divided into two parts. Before Rukmini, after Rukmini. Before Rukmini, Krishna was a prankster. He was going around doing all kinds of cheshtitas. He was primarily focused on stealing the hearts and minds of gopis and gopikas. After Rukmini, once he became a grihastha, he started to look at the activities of Dharma Samsthapana. So, Krishna Avatara can be divided as pre-Rukmini, post-Rukmini Kalyana. Rukmini Kalyana is the defining moment. So therefore, once he became a grihastha, holding Rukmini's hand, you can also say some amount of transformation came. All his Vrindavana cheshtitas came to an end and he started focusing on Dharma Samsthapana. Rukmini Devi, we all know, is the very embodiment of compassion. And the legend of Sudama is very well known. It is Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam, which was responsible for transforming the penury, poverty of Sudama and his family into prosperity. But Lakshmi, through Rukmini's Kaṭākṣam, we also get a very important bounty, if I were to say. We looked at several bounties, the 7 bounties that compete with each other. One of the important bounties bestowed by Rukmini Devi through her Kaṭākṣam. A very, very important wisdom that we can gain through Rukmini Charitra. Tanme bhavan kaluvrata patirangajayam atmarpitascha bhavatotra vibho videhi mavira bhagam abhimanyatu chaidya arad gomayuvan mrigapater balid ambujaksha. Rukmini writes in her patra to Krishna. So that patra, she is not only communicating with Krishna, she is also communicating with us at large. And with this particular shloka in the Rukmini Patra, she gives us quintessential wisdom. She says, Tanme bhavan kaluvrata patirangajayam atmarpitascha bhavatotra vibho videhi. Hey Vibho, you are the Vibhu. Hey Krishna, you are the Vibhu. Everyone else is only Vibhuti. This entire universe belongs to you. You are the only master. Every Jivatma is a Vibhu, Vibhuti. You are the Vibhu. Everybody belongs to you. I have chosen you and only you. Rukmini Kaṭākṣam helps us with choice making. We all are always struggling how to make the right choices. When we choose Krishna, everything will fall in place. This is Rukmani's message. Tanme bhavan kaluvrata patirangajayam atmarpitascha bhavatotra vibho videhi. Hey Bhagavan, I surrender completely to you. I have chosen you and I have chosen only you. No, that only is also important. We also choose, but the only is missing there. We choose him amongst several other things. Atmarpitascha bhavatotra vibho videhi. Mavira bhagam abhimarshatu chaidya arad. Chaidya Shishupala. Shishupala is being compared to a jackal. Hey Krishna, do not let the jackal steal what belongs to the lion. Do not let the jackal, which stands for tamas and rajas, do not let rajas and tamas steal what belongs to sattva. I belong to you and I belong only to you, and therefore it is your responsibility to come and save me. This is the wisdom that we get with Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. The wisdom that wherever we are, he shall come. We just need to call out and realizing that we belong only to him. The message here from Rukmini to all of us is, we are gods and we are not gods. If an apostrophe is missing, it can result in a catastrophe. We are gods. God apostrophe, yes. We are not gods without the apostrophe. We all think we are gods. We can control everything. Only when we get the apostrophe in the right place, we realize we are gods. We belong to him. And we belong only to him. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam gives us that important wisdom. Thus we see the role of Lakshmi Sambandha in all the avatars. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam being a prerequisite for the fulfillment of the purpose of all the avatars. Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam is responsible, whether we acknowledge it or not, for everything that is at work. In fact, we are all here today relishing Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam because of Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam. How do we perceive Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam? How do we receive Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam? We all know that Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣam is at work 24/7. Now, how do we perceive her Kaṭākṣam? How do we receive her Kaṭākṣam? When we start to shift our attention to what we have, when we start to shift our focus, our consciousness to what we have from what we don't have. The attention needs to shift from what we don't have to what we have. Essentially, it is counting our blessings. When we start to count our blessings, we will stop being bothered about what we don't have. When we start to count our blessings, shifting our attention on all that we are blessed with. All of us have countless blessings. If we start taking a pencil and paper and start to list out all that we are blessed with, I can guarantee you that we can run into several pages. We may struggle to begin with, but it is important that we do this as a practice. That is Lakshmi Puja. What is Dhanteras? Dhanatrayodashi. What is Lakshmi Puja? Worshipping Lakshmi is much more than just chanting her prayers. It is acknowledging her blessings, counting her blessings. And when we start to count our blessings, we feel we get enriched. The reward of Lakshmi Puja is enrichment. And that enrichment happens when we start to count our blessings. Now, counting our blessings is very important, no doubt. But as we start counting our blessings, we also find out that our blessings don't last. As long as those blessings are all material rewards. Very natural. The material reward that we gain today may not last tomorrow. So if our blessings are only, our focus is only on material rewards, even when we count our blessings, we may not be eternally enriched. We may be enriched today, and we may be tomorrow, we may be in a discomfort because of what we have lost yesterday. But along with counting our blessings, the counting also has to transform to what I call connecting. As we count our blessings, we also have to connect with the one who blesses us all the time. When the counting is complemented with connecting, then the enrichment lasts, is continuous. Everlasting enrichment is only possible when we start counting our blessings and connecting with the one who blesses us, Shri of Pati. So Lakṣmī Kaṭākṣa, Lakshmi Puja that we do is primarily, the objective of Lakshmi Puja is to pray, seek Shri's blessings to stay connected with Shri of Pati. Ultimately, the purpose of life is to eternally serve those who have given us this life, Shri and Shri of Pati. Shriyah Kantaya Kalyana Nidhaye Nidhayetinam Shri Venkata Nivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam. Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu.